The chandelier light glinted off polished silverware as my brother, Lucas, raised his glass to the room. The banquet hall in Munich's Bayerischer was packed with German MPs, business tycoons, and journalists, all gathered for our family's annual charity gala on a crisp October evening in 2025. Lucas, ever the showman, grinned and gestured toward me. "This is Elias," he said, voice booming. "He's our driver. Keeps the family moving one way or another." Laughter rippled through the crowd. My mother's smile tightened, her eyes fixed on her wine. My father, standing near a cluster of Bundestag members, didn't even glance my way. I stood there in a tailored navy suit, no title, no entourage, just a quiet presence at the edge of their world. Lucas's words weren't a joke. They were a dismissal, a reminder that to them, I was just a boy who'd left a family name behind. I hadn't come to beg for their approval. I was there to prove I had built something they couldn't erase. But then, as the laughter faded, the double doors swung open. A police officer in a crisp uniform stepped in, scanned the room, and locked eyes with me. He crossed the floor with purpose, stopped in front of me, and saluted. "Herr Minister Keller, it's an honor," he said, voice steady. The room went silent. Lucas's glass froze midair. My mother's breath caught. My father turned, his face pale as marble. But before anyone could speak, a man in a dark coat near the back collapsed, clutching his chest. Security swarmed. Cameras clicked off. Whispers turned to shouts. No one knew it yet, but that man wasn't just a guest. He was an informant carrying evidence meant for me. And that moment changed everything. My name is Elias Wagner. I was cast out by my family, but I didn't fade away. I rose as Elias Keller, a federal minister in Germany's government, under a name I'd chosen to escape their shadow. I didn't return to Munich to be welcomed back. I came to expose the truth they'd buried for years. I grew up in the Wagner family, a name that carried weight in Bavaria's legal and political circles. We dined with judges, shared cigars with ministers, and received Christmas cards from corporate giants. My father, Heinrich Wagner, was a titan in corporate law, my mother a silent partner in his empire, and Lucas, my older brother, was a golden heir, a rising star in the Bundestag. It was September 2024 when I uncovered something that broke me. I was a junior prosecutor in the Munich Public Prosecutor's Office, tasked with auditing contracts for a state-funded healthcare initiative. Late one night, buried in financial records from Bayern Care, a private firm running hospitals across southern Germany, I found irregularities that turned my stomach. Invoices for non-existent medical supplies, payments for procedures never performed, and patient deaths unreported to authorities. Worse, I found a trail of approvals leading to my father's signature, authorizing funds that hid neglect and fraud. I sat in my office, staring at his name, Heinrich Wagner. The man who'd preached honesty is our legacy had signed off on corruption. I should have looked away. Instead, I compiled the evidence, every email, every falsified report, and submitted it to the federal whistleblower channel. I used my real name, thinking truth would protect me. 3 days later, I was suspended. The headline screamed, "Wagner heir accused of fabricating evidence." My father went on television, his voice cold as steel. "Our family upholds the law. It's tragic when someone young betrays that trust." He never said my name. My mother didn't speak to me. Lucas, campaigning for a higher seat, avoided me like I was poison. My closest colleague, Anna Braun, leaked my internal notes to Bayern Care's legal team. She texted me, "Don't be foolish, Elias. Truth doesn't win alone." That night, I packed a duffel bag, hid €200 in my jacket, and bought a train ticket to Freiburg under the name Elias Keller. The Wagner name had opened doors my whole life. That night, I locked it behind me. Freiburg was a small city, far from Munich's spotlight. I rented a room above a cafe that smelled of fresh bread and damp wood. The owner asked no questions. I took a job at a local archive, organizing dusty legal records and helping pensioners research property disputes. At night, I taught civic literacy classes to migrants and ex-convicts, people rebuilding lives from scraps, like me. In the quiet, I found purpose. I couldn't stop tracking Bavarian politics. Under the pseudonym Freiheit Stimme, I wrote anonymous policy critiques, dissecting proposed laws with precision. One piece, a takedown of a healthcare budget cut, reached a Bundestag committee and halted the plan. Whispers spread in activist circles about the mysterious FS. In Freiburg, I was just Elias, the archivist with coffee stains on his cuffs. But in the shadows, I was fighting. One evening, at a town hall meeting, a local councillor quoted my words. "We cannot starve the vulnerable to feed the powerful." My heart pounded. I sat in the back, unnoticed, until I met Jonas, a history professor with a kind smile and sharp mind. We bonded over books and the flaws in Germany's legal system. He never asked about my past, and I never volunteered it. We shared quiet evenings, but I kept my distance, afraid of being known. Then one night, Jonas found a draft of my latest FS piece on my desk. He looked at me, eyes steady. "Are you Freiheit Stimme?" I laughed it off, said I was just an archivist who read too much. He left a note the next day. "Truth is a gift, but only if you give it to yourself first." We didn't speak after that. His note stayed in my drawer, next to a faded Freiburg library card bearing the name Elias Keller. A year passed. I'd grown into Elias Keller, a man who didn't flinch at the Wagner name on the news. Then, in September 2025, a letter arrived on heavy cream paper, sealed with the Wagner family crest. It was from Lucas, inviting me to our father's 60th birthday gala at the Bayerischer Hof. "The family expects your presence. Come to make amends. Be a Wagner again." I laughed, a hollow sound. They thought I needed their name to survive. What they didn't know was that I was now a federal minister, elected as Elias Keller through grassroots support and policy expertise, not family ties. I went to the gala not to reconcile, but to reclaim my story. I arrived in a simple suit, no fanfare, standing quietly at the room's edge. Lucas's introduction, calling me the driver, cut deep, but I held my ground. Then the officer's salute shifted everything. "Herr Minister Keller," he said, and the room froze. My mother's wine glass trembled. Lucas's smile vanished. My father's eyes met mine for the first time in years. But the collapse of the man in the coat stole the moment. He was an informant, carrying documents proving Bayern Care's fraud extended beyond what I'd uncovered. As security cleared the room, I slipped out, knowing the fight was just beginning. The story of my return spread like wildfire. Headlines called me Wagner's son turned minister and the comeback of Elias Keller. For a week, I was a hero. Then the smear campaign began. A video surfaced, edited to show me admitting to falsifying audit data. It was a deepfake but convincing. Anna Braun, now a Bayern Care PR consultant, fueled the narrative on talk shows. Elias fooled us all. An anonymous email warned me, Bayern Care's funding this. They'll destroy you before the healthcare vote. In Freiburg, my literacy classes were canceled. The archive lost funding. People whispered. Jonas, on a local radio show, said, maybe Elias was just using us. His words stung worse than the headlines. I sat in my Freiburg flat, staring at my ministerial oath. I thought of vanishing again. Then I remembered the officer's salute, the informant's collapse, the people in my classes who trusted me. I couldn't let Bayern Care win. I contacted Clara, a disgraced journalist who'd once exposed Bayern Care's patient mistreatment. She'd lost a career for it. We met in a deserted Berlin car park. You ready to fight again? She asked. I handed her a USB drive with my audit files. Let's end this. 2 days later, a threatening note arrived with a photo of my flat's door. Back off or you're done. Fear gripped me, but I thought of Jonas's note, the informant's sacrifice, and the people I'd taught. I kept going. Clara and I planned a press conference at Freiburg's Community Center, a place I'd helped fund. We stood at a worn podium, flanked by cracked windows. An elderly woman, Frau Weber spoke first. Bayerncare ignored my husband's illness. Elias listened. Then I took the mic. I'm Elias Wagner, federal minister. I've been called a liar, but I won't betray those who believed in me. Clara revealed Bayerncare's payment to Anna and the deepfake's origins. Jonas appeared at the back, holding a sign, "We trust Elias." The video went viral. Hashtag Stand With Elias trended. The Bundestag launched an investigation into Bayerncare. Anna was suspended. Lucas resigned as an MP, admitting in a tearful speech, "I let ambition blind me to my brother's truth." I filed a countersuit against Bayerncare for defamation and obstruction. Clara's expose linked their funds to political campaigns, including Lucas's. The truth unraveled their empire. I didn't run for re-election. The media called me the minister who walked away. But it was never about power. It was about keeping my promise to never stay silent. I settled in Freiburg, teaching law part-time and running a foundation for whistleblowers. Lucas volunteered, rebuilding trust through actions, not words. Jonas and I reconnected over coffee. No promises, just shared silences that felt like home. One evening, a student from my old class, Amina, handed me a letter. "You taught me to speak up," she wrote. "You showed me truth is worth the fight." I added it to a box with Jonas's note, my ministerial oath, and a photo of Freiburg's quiet streets. The battles weren't over, but I'd found my voice. And in that quiet resistance, I became who I was meant to be,